Okay, so I have a piece of arch paper taped down with Scotch Brite tape to a piece of cardboard. It's about 6 inches by 6 inches. I'm going to draw a simple, I already kind of pre-drew it, but I want to show you again. So I want to do a plate, and I have two simple pears on it, right? Maybe just take an oval, and go like this, right? And then you can put your pears. So I'm going to kind of go like down here, curve it. Look at photographs of pears, or actually buy some pears, right? And then we put the stem here. And that's a little too skinny, but that's fine. And then we put another pear here, kind of laying down like so, like almost like a jelly bean, right? And here's the stem coming off this one. I'll erase that little line there. And then you're just going to erase your lines going through the pears, right? Keep your plate if you need to see that. A little bit darker. And then maybe for the background, it's on a table. I'm just going to put a ruler and go across like this. Simple, cute pear. And this is going to be a great exercise in, painting a background that's really kind of more darker and more in depth. And same thing with the pears. So it's just a really simple drawing. You're just kind of like making this teardrop shape, but a little bit rounder on top, and just kind of flipping it on the here, and just doing oval and the straight line right there. So I've gone in and erased some of my darker lines. I didn't want to see them. And now we're going to start to paint. And I pick arch paper because it's a great great paper to have wonderful wet on wet bleeds. I'm going to grab a Princeton 12 Aqua Elite brush, round brush. I'm going to take some cadmium yellow deep. I use Holbein paint, right? And grab some peacock blue. This is a great color from Holbein. It's unusual that nobody else seems to have this color, and people ask me what's the equivalent. There really isn't. I'm gonna add more yellow, get this nice, like, very bright, vibrant green, right? Clean up my brush. Now, these kind of pears have like yellows and reds and a little bit of greens in them. So I'm gonna loosen up my yellow again. Put it down. And for the red, I'm just gonna grab cadmium red light. That's another one. So I'm gonna have these three colors ready to go, right? And then we need to have a little bit of darker green. You can just take some Prussian blue right here, mix it in with the green we already have. I'll add a little burnt umber. It's a little too much. Get that green, a really deeper green, but a pretty green. So I'm gonna go back and add some more yellow and Prussian blue. And we have a deeper green here, a little bit more blue to get it darker. Voila. See all the colors we have mixed up already? Okay. So this paper's dry. I've got some water on my brush, right? I can put some water down on where the pear is, the first pear, just kind of nice amount of water, not super wet, damp, so you get a nice little sheen going here. See a little sheen? There's a little sheen. Grab my green, my light green, kind of just move it around. Now the consistency of the paint should be loose, where you can kind of move it, but not super loose. So if it's really, really loose, it's too wet, right? And they want it more consistency, like around milk, the actual drink milk, how thick that is. If you can really move it around the plate. Tea means really can move it around. I'm leaving this section white for now. I'm going to drop in some of that red. I'm going to grab some of my yellow, throw some of that in here. A little bit more yellow tone. And I'm going to add more yellow in here. And why is that? So when your red mixes with green, it will get what? Brown, because it's the opposite. So if we got the yellow in here opposed to the green, it won't turn as much, it won't turn brown as much, or you can wait till it dries and then go over and just wash in a nice little pretty of that red. So I've got this green, so I'm mixing up some medium green, putting it on the left side. It's still damp, kind of bleeding that color in. I can make the paint a little bit thicker with that yellow. Add some more yellow. The paint's a little thicker. Now I'm blending that again. Look how this goes. A little bit darker on this side. It's almost a little too light here. Just kind of keep moving up. Going on the edge and here. I want this green on the side to be a little bit darker, so I'm adding some more Prussian blue. Tap a little bit of burnt umber, not too much. Why I put the burnt umber in is just to kind of tone down that blue-green color. And adding in the deeper green. Just doesn't have to be super dark. And then I'm going to blend it like this and grab my green here again. And just kind of move up on this pear. This paper is great for nice blend bleeds. Look how nice and smooth that all looks. And add a little bit of this dark color. Just tap it a little bit up here. You can even grab a little bit of burnt sienna, just a teeny bit. Kind of tap it in here so it looks more realistic than this bright green pear. You don't really see bright green pears. You see a little brown in there. So I'm just tapping in a little bit of this burnt sienna around here. Teeny bit. Tippy tap. Very light, very gentle. Tap it around the sides here. Boom. Now we have that yellow spot, right? I'm going to play around with grabbing that cadmium red light and see how this goes. See? It's not going to turn brown. And I'm tapping that in here lightly. I might clean up my brush, just have some clear water and just kind of blend by just moving the sides a little bit here. You'll see it gets a little brown as we hit the green because it's a complementary color. And I'm going to do it like that. Now I might wait till the rest of it dries. I'm cleaning off my brush and then go back over it so I have a nice little pretty red. But look at that, just blending slowly. You can even grab some more medium green down here. Or a little bit of that, like I said, burnt sienna. Or the red, because it's opposite. It can turn a little brown for you right here. Tappy little taps. Really kind of sweet and simple. Put some of the red down here. It's going to turn it brown and give a nice dark hue, which we're looking for. So just green on green. You can grab some more red and get a nice brown tone for shading on the pear. Look at that. Now I do want to have a little highlight on the left-hand side, so I might lift it. How do you lift it? It's damp, it's wet. You take a stiff brush. I can still use this one. And you're kind of like mopping up with a little, with the brush, lifting the paint and tapping back on the paper towel. And that's how you lift the paint to get the effect you're looking for. I might go back in here and a little bit more green. It's still damp. Most of the dark is on the left-hand side, as you can see. And adding a little few dots up top. And that's how we go about painting the pear. If it's a little too dark, you can kind of play it with that lifting game again. I want to get it a little bit lighter and add that bright green back in here. See? Don't play with it too much though. Now I'm going to wait for that one to dry. Same guy, same type of pear. Maybe this one's a little bit more yellow-orange. So I'll get this wet. Fill this in. I can leave a little white. Don't even paint this area, so it's a white left over. Don't paint this, it's almost like a little highlight. But everything else is wet. I'm going to add my yellow, my green. Again. I'm going to move faster now that you saw me do that one. I'm going to add some more yellow here. This one's going to be a little bit more yellowish, brown, red. I'm going to grab my red. Clean up my brush to make sure it's not dirty. See, now I'm adding the yellow. Now it looks a little bit orange. I'll clean up my brush. Grab that cadmium red light. I don't want it super yellow. I mean orange. Put that color in here. Blend it. Go back. It's all kind of playing wet on wet here. My yellow. Now I've got a little orange tinge to it. Oh, I went over my white. Wasn't supposed to go over my white. I'll leave that one right there. There we go. And I can add a little bit of green now. on the left side. Keeping this one more in the yellow-orange kind of vein. I could even add some burnt sienna. You can keep this one a little bit lighter if you want to. This one's darker. And a little bit dark in this side. A little burnt sienna. And some darker here. It's getting kind of dark like this way. So it looks three-dimensional. You want it kind of dark on both sides, but not super. It has to have that roundish shape to it. Add a little bit of green. Just blending this now, like we did before. And getting a little bit more yellow-orangey color. Grabbing some more of that red. Throwing some of that back here. Keeping the green there. I'm picking up the greens you see here. I'm moving that dark green into the, there we go. And again, tip my brush with some burnt sienna and tap a little bit of dots. Not super wet and loose, just a little bit of loose. You see those little tappy dark brown spots in some of those pears. Going back and getting my green here, the peacock and the yellow. Get this bright green. With a little bit of that pink tinge to it. Doesn't take much to do that. I'm going to keep it that mostly yellow and let that dry a little bit. And if I did add in a dark green, I'll just going to go back and add a little bit more. This dark green down here on the tip area and down the bottom and around here. I just mix up some real quick. I don't want to get it super dark. I can always go back in and add some color later, and I'll show you what I mean. Right now I'm going to keep like that. We have the stem, so if I did want to lift out a little color here, put the stem in. Kind of do the stem last, but I do want to lift. There we go. The stem. So that's how you would paint the wonderful pear. I'm going to mix up a little bit more green. Make this edge a little smoother. There we go. A little green, dark green. Okay, we finished the pear part. We'll let that dry. Moving on to the plate. We'll go back to this guy in a bit. We're going to move on to the plate. I'm going to add some burnt sienna, ultramarine blue deep. Get this lovely brown color. And we'll start to play with putting that color in as the like a brown plate. It could be a blue plate, but I want to do brown. Put the color wash in first. I do want to go around my stem, so be careful with that. I'm still using the 12 Aqua Elite. Take your time. A bigger brush will help you move the paint faster and go around. There we go. Listen, you don't have to be super careful, but you do want to paint around that stem. And there's a reason for that. Okay, get that first wash in there. Gonna add some darker color. I could add this color called Lunar Black by Daniel Smith, or even some burnt umber, and then I'm going to bleed that color, that darker color, in here while it's damp around this section here, a little bit here, but not too much, and on this side. All right, gonna bleed that. Leave this kind of light still. Got this darker plate situation, and it can get even darker in the back. Add some more Lunar Black. And just let that sit, especially on this side. And again, we want to wait till that dries. Meanwhile, in the background, because that's drying in the front, I want to have a nice, really intense dark background. I notice that this is starting to have a little hard edge here. I can just take my brush and move that paint Or wait till it dries and go over it all again. It's creating another little hard edge. Not a super bleed, but you know what? Sometimes I like the expressiveness of it, so I don't really mind. I can always go back over it. So for this area, we're going to get some real fun paint. We're going to get really loose. A lot of ultramarine blue deep. You need to have a lot of paint for this. So get it ready. That's why I use tube paint. You can activate it much better. And the two combination of these two, ultramarine blue and the burnt sienna, are granulation paints, so that they seep into the paper and it creates this really kind of cool texture. I kind of go more towards the blue side. So now we're going to get this. It's going to be wet on dry. Look at that gray. Nice and dark. Be careful going around your pear and to the edge of the table here. We might do another pass of this. Obviously we're going to add some more color. Going around my stem again. There's the table edge. The pear. Once you paint the areas, it's easy to bleed the color. Usually go top from the bottom. You don't kind of outline it like I just did there. You want to, but this is just a small area. If you were doing a bigger piece, you don't want to outline it and then fill it in, because then you'll have like a hard edge on the outline. But this doesn't matter on this one because it's tiny. So I can already see the colors doing this separation thing where it's really cool texture. And now I'm going to go and add more depth with thicker color. So same colors, really kind of thick. The paint is hardly any water, and now I'll go back in here again. We want this really deep, dark background. Add a little bit more burnt sienna on one side. Dramatic, we're going for the dramatic. And if I went over my pear a little bit, no biggie. Just try not to go over the stem. And back over here. I'm going to kind of keep this color the same, but just get this part below darker. And back here. I could even grab some lunar black, which is even darker than that, right here, and bleed that in right in the back here. Look how intense the color is. Very intense. We want this like real dramatic dark background. And now I'm just gonna let that sit. And let that sit and dry because I want to paint this table. And then we're gonna just finish up the pear and we're done. We have this beautiful, intense, dramatic looking, you know, simple still life. Keep it simple. So now for the table, we're gonna get a little bit creative with the color. We're gonna grab that cadmium red light, a little yellow, look an orange kind of color tone. Get some fun going here. Again, wet on dry. Oh, I got some on my plate. Grabbing a little bit more water and more of this red. Get this nice big orange color here. There's a method to the madness. And again, we're taking this, gonna fill this all in. Top to bottom. Take your time. It's very wet. And the big brush helps move the paint faster. If you have a tiny brush, you're going to take forever to do this, and it's going to have streaks, and you're not going to like it. Okay. I'm going to remove some of this paint and grab some yellow. I want the yellow on the bottom. Look at that bright intensity. That yellow. I love it. This little teeny patch. Just take your time. Maybe grab more thicker paint. I'm still using this brush. I'm not going to switch to a tiny brush. Now, we filled that all in. I'm going to grab the red right out of the tube, mix in with some burnt sienna. Look at that. Have this move down a little bit. You can kind of tilt your paper. I'm going to put it back here. Red and green are a nice opposite. This is more of an orange red. coming down here. If you tilt it, it will slowly bleed down to the bottom. Taking his time because it's not that wet, right? I'm going to grab some more burnt sienna and mix it in with a little bit of that ultramarine blue deep. Let's bleed some of this color in and around the plate. I'm just playing right now with some colors. I went over my plate a little bit. It's not a big deal. Grabbing a little bit more of this brown. So it still has that orangey red hue, but now it's changed a little bit. Grabbing some more of that brown. I don't want to see white back here. It's got to be darker. Got my pear. Clean up my brush. I'm going to play with moving this paint down here. See, I like that intense color. Isn't that fun? Very, very intense. Can kind of lift a little bit of this color and move it down. It's still very, very wet, so I can grab some ultramarine blue deep, mix in with the burnt sienna, a little bit more blue. I'm going to start to play with putting this in here for like the shadow under this plate, and a little bit back here. Right on that color. Blending, blending, blending. See, from the center of the plate going out this way. I'll add a little bit more, so this side's much darker, going over that red color. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for a bit. And then a little bit back here. Now we just bled wet onto wet, but now I'm gonna let it dry. I'm gonna do glazing, which is color upon color. So now we're gonna let this dry and we're gonna glaze it. Okay, so now we let this dry and go back with my blue, ultramarine blue deep, teeny bit of burnt sienna, so it's more blue tone, blue gray, and I can go back on top of this, get this even darker. Keep hitting my pear. Much darker. You can use the same blue and burnt sienna, more blue again, for shadow inside here again. Because you know, watercolor will dry later and you might have to go back in a couple of times. Get this shadow in here. And around my stem. Grab a little bit of water and kind of blend it. Clean up my brush, blend this. And if I want that bold, come alive again, I'm going to grab some more burnt sienna and go on top of that. Again, it's the light, the consistency is very, very loose. Just go over that and it just punches up the color just a little bit. I'm going to take the same grayish blue and add a little color up here. While it's wet, bleed a little color here under my little wonderful pear. Right? Go back and add this color. Pretty dark. Going on my plate. And we have to really fill them out, but if I want to get even darker with my shadow on the plate, underneath the plate, I go back in with those two colors. A little bit more intense shadow kind of coming down here. Now this is dry. I can grab the blue coming down here. Bigger shadow from the plate. And I always start from the middle going outward and a little bit of an oval kind of curving. Boom. Last but not least, we can do the stem. So I'll take some burnt umber and a little bit of Daniel Smith's Lunar Black. Now you might want to use a smaller brush for this. I can grab my Princeton 8 long round. I can find that right here. Zoom in. We kept it white for a reason. Take the brown and the black mixed together. And we're going to have the whites showing still. And there's the brown. Leave a little of that white on the stem. Same thing here. I'm going to do both sides and leave a little white in the middle. And then kind of paint it on the bottom. This one I lost mine. That's okay. Just a little white. Right? If the shadow's going this way, I kind of put the white on that side and it should be on the left. Because my brain wasn't working well today. So I can just lift this if I made a mistake. Yes, I did. Not a big deal. Grab a little paper towel and fix that. There we go, on this side. So now we paint the stem. Can just add some white, some burnt umber and some Lunar Black from Daniel Smith. And I'll paint the right side of this, going a little bit down the bottom. This one, I started painting and it was like too dark. So I'm gonna lift this guy back up. There we go. I could paint this whole one, but I'm gonna leave a little bit of white on the left-hand side for the stem. And if you mess it up, you can always add some gouache to it. And last but not least, while it's all dry, I'm gonna remove some of these paint colors here and punch up my, my pears one last time. Yellow, very bright, because we lost a lot of the color. It's got diluted going into the paper. Wet on dry, just punch it up by adding some bright green in there. On top of all this, maybe add some bright yellow. So I'm going to loosen up some of the yellow. Again, glazing. And we can do the same thing with the red. Go back here and I'm going to add some bright yellow. And then there's the green. Just a little bit more intense so the color really punches up. It's kind of looking dull in my opinion. Clean up my brush and grab this cadmium red light. You can even add a little pink to it if you want. Look at that. See, now it's a little bit darker. And I'll just blend it by watering it down. And going right over here. A little bit darker. Pretty, isn't it? Just take your time blending it. Same thing here. Adding that red. I'll clean up my brush so I can blend it. And the yellow. Get this a little bit more vibrant going up here. If you want to add a little bit of burnt sienna to it, make a little bit of, mustardy yellow color. That's fine too. And there you have it. A very, very, very beautiful, vibrant, bold kind of painting. Might go back and grab some more deep green. Those colors that I told you about before. Kind of play with adding that kind of green down here on the edge. And keep a wet, damp paper towel close by and kind of maneuver it. There's that green again. And you have these wonderful pears. So I went back in with the same colors I did here. Just put a little bit longer line going across here because the plate looked like it was floating and I wanted it to not look floating. I removed the tape and look at that. Looks fantastic. So if you're looking to paint something really dramatic and really kind of different, this is the perfect tutorial for you. If you're a Patreon member, you get the traceable, but I showed you how to draw it. And if you want to be a Patreon member, click the link in the description box below. Patreon members get first dibs on watercolor workshops and retreats, which is really a bonus. My workshops sell out on Patreon. They don't even go public. And you get exclusive tutorials, live stream, all kinds of goodies. So go check it out, and you support my channel here on YouTube, which I really appreciate. And check it out. Click the link below. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.